Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Minnesota House of Representatives Transportation, Finance, and Policy Committee. My name is Frank Hornstein. I'm the chair, and our first item of business today will be to take the roll to establish a quorum. Mr. Dodge.
Chair Hornstein.
Present.
Hornstein present. Vice Chair Cagle.
Present.
Cagle present. Representative Petersburg.
Present.
Petersburg present. Representative Barr.
Present.
Barr present. Representative Bernardi.
Present.
Bernardi present. Representative Elkins. Representative Frederick.
Present.
Frederick present. Representative Hausman.
Present.
Hausman present. Representative Heinrich.
Present.
Heinrich present. Representative Kosnick.
Kosnick present.
Kosnick present. Representative Mason. Representative Mason. Representative Murphy.
Murphy present.
Murphy present. Representative Nelson.
Nelson present.
Nelson present. Representative Olson.
Present.
Olson present. Representative Richardson.
Present.
Richardson present. Representative Torkelson.
Torkelson present.
Torkelson present. Representative West.
Present.
West present. There is a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Dodge. Our next item of business is approval of the March 4th minutes for this committee. Representative Petersburg, do you have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to move the minutes of the March 4th meeting. Thank you.
The minutes are moved. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the motion prevails. Members, just by way of an announcement, we do have House File 1163 on our agenda, and it is a very, very important bill, and we want to make sure that we allot enough time for all the testifiers that have signed up to testify, and also for committee debate and discussion. There are amendments as well. We hope to get through the bill in our allotted committee time, which expires at 2:30 promptly. If we're unable to get through the bill discussion and amendments and come to a vote before then, we do have time scheduled through House Media Services at 5 p.m. So there will be a reconvening at 5 p.m., but only under the condition that we do not get through our agenda. There are some minor bills after this. We can continue those. We don't need to go reconvene at 5 p.m. for those bills. But our main item of business today is House File 1163. And I will move House File 1163 to be re-referred to the Ways and Means Committee. I call upon the author of the bill, Representative Winkler, to present the bill. Representative Winkler, welcome to the Transportation, Finance, and Policy Committee, and we're very excited to have you and very excited to hear this important bill once again this year.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, members of the committee, for taking time to hear this bill today and for your attention to something that has for too long been left undone. Today in Minnesota, we require people to show evidence of immigration status in order to apply for a driver's license, take a driving test, and be able to buy car insurance to safely operate vehicles on the road. The current policy not only undermines safety on the roads, it also undermines our economy, and it in some ways undermines public safety as a whole in Minnesota. The bill before you allows people to take a test and pass it and get a driver's license without using documents to show status under our immigration laws in order to get the license. 15 other states have this law in place or a similar law to it. And when those states have enacted it, they have seen decreases in hit and runs, decreases in people driving without auto insurance, including New Mexico saw its rate drop by 24%. Utah it dropped by 20%. So we know that in Minnesota, by enacting this law, we will be improving safety on the roads and helping all Minnesotans have confidence that if they are involved in an accident, that their insurance will be covered, or they'll be covered by insurance themselves or another driver. More importantly for me, we have 30,000 U.S. citizen children in Minnesota who have at least one undocumented parent. That means there are 30,000 Minnesota kids who are U.S. citizens whose parents can't take them to sporting activities, they can't take them to school, they can't take them to the doctor's office without risking deportation. Minnesota and throughout the state, not just in one community in the metro area, but throughout Minnesota, we rely on immigrants to revitalize our economy, keep our communities growing and strong. And immigrants contribute hugely to our success and our future, and will continue to support our future in Minnesota. And yet we have a law that prevents so many of them from getting access to a driver's license. House File 1163 writes that, it corrects that, it provides an opportunity for people to be able to be safe and to do the right thing. We have support from the business community, we have support from agriculture, we have support from many in law enforcement, we have support from faith leaders, and it is really time for Minnesota to do this. I know that this bill has attracted bipartisan support before, and I want to say at the outset, my goal is to get a bill passed into law, not just to make a statement. We know that we will need Republicans in the Senate to support this bill, and to do that, we will need Republicans in the Minnesota House to show that this is something that is good for local communities. So I, in that spirit, hope that you will listen to the testimony today and look forward to discussing with you amendments that have been filed and I expect to be offered, and looking for a way forward together on this issue. And with that, Mr. Chair, I think testifiers should come forward.
Thank you very much, Representative Winkler. I want to add my note of thanks personally to you for your hard work on this. Many members over the years have addressed this issue, and members of the community, and I hope this is the year we can finally make some important progress on it. So your work is very much appreciated. I am just, for members of the committee, we are going to hold questions until after the testimony. If you have any questions of the testifiers or of the author, we can take them at that point, and then we'll do amendments. And our first testifier is Lucas Sjorstrom, the Executive Director of the Minnesota Milk Producers. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. But welcome to the committee. And no, I didn't. Okay. Please state your name for the record correctly and proceed with your testimony.
Thank you, Chair Hornstein and Representative Winkler, Vice Chair Kegel, Ranking Member Petersburg, and committee members. For the record, my name is Lucas Sjostrom. I've got the Swedish in me, and I'm Executive Director at the Minnesota Milk Producers Association, a member of the Agri-Growth Council. I'm also a partner in my family's dairy farm and cheese operation. Both Minnesota Milk and Agri-Growth are founding members of the movement for driver's licenses for all and support House File 1163. Minnesota and our agriculture and food employers have a labor shortage. Many jobs require many skills, and many others require hard work. And sometimes we look at those as two separate things. One of the hardest to find skills that we need in Minnesota is hard work, and I would call that a high skill. And one thing you'll hear in the debate over how to better accommodate workers, whether we're giving our future workers education, visas to bring people from elsewhere, or accommodations to get people into employment with incentives, is whether we want those low skills or high skills. And again, hard work, which many of those who would benefit from this license participate in the agriculture industry and on dairy farms with that very important skill. With that hard work, they're also willing to pass a driver's license test, pay money for insurance, and do all that's necessary to obtain that license so they can drive safely. But today, of course, some of them cannot do that. That limits skills from being acquired, commerce from being transacted, and a higher level of safety from being realized. So we want our families and employees on dairy farms to be safe and able to travel our state, whether to homeschool or work. And that goal can only be achieved when every driver on the roads has learned and passed driver safety training. And without this opportunity, that expectation is just not achievable. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shorstrom. Our next testifier is Bishop John Quinn from the Minnesota Catholic Conference. Welcome to the committee, Mr. Quinn, Bishop Quinn, and please state your name for the record.
My name is John Quinn. I'm the Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Winona, Rochester, here in Minnesota. I have come to the meeting today to speak on behalf of the Minnesota Catholic Conference in support of House File 1163. Opening our license system to immigrants will allow Minnesota to take action and to address one component of our broken immigration system. Our immigrant brothers and sisters need reforms to ensure that they are not confined to the shadows and to the margins of our society. We don't want them to be invisible. We want them to be visible to us. Absent federal comprehensive immigration reform, offering driving credentials is one small measure, but an important one for the state of Minnesota, so that we can employ not only those who are here, but will make our roads safer. It will make our communities more welcoming to immigrants who already make an important contribution to the economic, cultural, and social life of our communities. Access to driving credentials will help immigrants meet their daily obligations. In many parts here of southern Minnesota, where I live, there is no public transportation. Undocumented persons have no ability to get to work or to church or access to health services or to school, other than by driving there illegally. Every day, they live in fear of getting stopped. That could mean permanent separation from their children, from their spouse, or their parents. Allowing undocumented persons to obtain provisional driver's licenses serves the common good in several ways. Most importantly, public safety is promoted by having more licensed drivers on the road, who studies have shown are less likely to be involved in fatal accidents and also are more likely to be insured. It is surely in the best interests of our state to have people who are living among us and driving on our roads who can do so safely and do so legally. Undoubtedly, I know immigration policy is complicated and it brings out deep emotions. As we seek, though, to uphold the dignity of every human person, because they are created in the image and likeness of God, our Creator, we must not ignore the common good, particularly the reality that with rights and with privileges comes responsibilities. So thank you for your consideration and receiving my testimony. It's been my honor to be with you this afternoon.
Thank you so much, Bishop Quinn, and also a note of thanks to the faith community as a whole, particularly the Catholic Conference, but the faith community as a whole has played such a key role over the years in advancing this issue.
Thank you.
Our next testifier is Marco Kunsley, from a researcher at the University of Minnesota. Mr. Kunsley, welcome to the committee, and please state your name for the record.
Hello, dear committee. First of all, I want to thank you for the invitation to testify. My name is Marco Kunsley, and I moved from Switzerland to Minnesota in January 2021. I graduated from the University of Basel in Switzerland and subsequently earned a doctoral degree in immunology. So I came to Minneapolis on a J1 visa granted with a national interest exception to work at the University of Minnesota in the laboratory of Dr. Massapust, who is a member of a nationwide vaccine research program from the NIH, and the laboratory is currently working on a vaccine against COVID. Therefore, I'm considered essential staff that needs to be present at the workplace in order to be able to do the research, and I cannot work remotely from home. I need to take the car to the workplace, and my foreign driver's license is only valid for 60 days upon arrival. And therefore, I wanted to get a Minnesota driver's license as soon as possible. Now, I understand that for security reasons, it makes total sense that we have to take both the knowledge exam and the driving skill test. However, it is extremely difficult to fulfill the requirements for the identification documents. My Swiss passport, my US visa, my DS 2019 form, my I-94 form, my Swiss identity card, and my Swiss driving license, so 6 documents, are apparently not enough documents for the DVS to allow for a clear identification of my person. From the list of secondary documents that fulfill their criteria, the only option that I have is to provide a certified original transcript from a school or a university that states my name and my birth date. And a copy of a certified transcript is not good enough. So it's extremely difficult for immigrants to provide this document and complete both exams within the 60-day period, as time is also lost with overseas shipment, with waiting for exam appointments, etc. And therefore, it almost makes it impossible to get a valid driver's license on time. So in summary, I support this bill because I think adjusting the document requirements will help immigrants to integrate faster, while at the same time, the security of the society will not be compromised, but rather improved. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kunsley, for your testimony and your perspective. Our next testifier is Julia Decker, the Policy Director for the American Civil Liberties Union. Ms. Decker, welcome to the Transportation Committee, and please state your name for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members. My name is Julia Decker. I'm the Policy Director for the ACLU of Minnesota, and I'm testifying today in support of House File 1163. People who would gain access to a driver's license or ID card through this bill but don't have proof of citizenship or lawful presence are more likely to be people who are already marginalized. Not every Minnesotan who is a citizen actually possesses proof of that citizenship or lawful presence. People with low income, people facing homelessness or unstable housing situations, victims of domestic violence or trafficking may not have the means or ability to access those documents. In addition, non-citizens may not have proof of citizenship or lawful presence for a number of reasons. Many applications for immigration status or even a renewal of an immigration status may take months to be fully processed, and that can easily leave a non-citizen without paper proof of their lawful presence. So this bill will encourage more Minnesotans, citizen and non-citizen alike, to go through the licensing process. And as previous testifiers have noted, all Minnesotans will benefit from increased public safety if more drivers are licensed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Decker. Our next testifier is Rabbi Jill Cummings of Congregation Bet Shalom. Welcome to the committee, Rabbi Cummings. State your name for the record.
Hi, everyone. I am Jill Cummings, and thank you so much for having me this afternoon. I am a rabbi at Beit Shalom Congregation in Minnetonka, and I'm also currently one of the co-chairs of the Minnesota Rabbinical Association, representing 42 rabbis across the state of Minnesota. And so I will keep my remarks brief and speak to this issue as a moral imperative for us to uphold the human dignity of all who live in our state. As the bishop remarked, we in Jewish tradition also teach that God created humankind in God's own image, and every human being in this world deserves to be treated with respect and dignity. The rabbis in the Talmud actually go so far to say that upholding the value of human dignity is the most important value in all of Torah. And so we believe as rabbis across the state of Minnesota that enabling all individuals to receive a driver's license is an act of affirmation and dignity. It's an act that says to people, we see you, you are part of our community, we honor you, and we respect you. And so I want to thank everyone for the opportunity to share these words from Jewish tradition with all of you, and to thank you for taking the time for considering uplifting this value of human dignity for all people who live in our state. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Cummings, and also thank you to the Minnesota Rabbinic Association for all of your work over many years on this issue. Your presence is very much appreciated. Our next testifier is Marianne Heroes. Welcome to the committee, and please state your name for the record.
My name is Marianne Heroes. Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Ang pangalan ko si Marianne. Maraming salamat sa lahat ng trabaho niyo. I am a co-director of Indigenous Roots Cultural Arts Center, as well as a member of FIRM, Filipinx Immigrant Rights and Racial Justice in Minnesota. I'm also a proud partner of MIM, Movement, Minnesota Immigrant Movement. I have shared in previous testimonies that there are a minimum of about 20,000 people who identify as Filipinx in the state of Minnesota. My family and I immigrated directly to these Dakota lands, specifically to the east side of St. Paul in 1989. Although our family entered legally with a visa and became temporary residents, unfortunately, not all of my siblings are documented today and do not have the necessary documents to obtain a driver's license. My sibling is not only a hardworking essential employee in the food industry, but also a valuable contributor to our society. Having access to a driver's license not only ensures safety for my brother, but for all of us. Your support and leadership is much needed to create equitable and safe access to our streets and highways. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Quiros, and thank you for your perspective and sharing your brother's story. Our next testifier is Andrea Duarte Alonzo from the Immigrant Law Center of Minnesota.
Good afternoon. My name is Andrea Duarte Alonzo, and I am a Greater Minnesotan. I work for the Immigrant Law Center of Minnesota in the Worthington office. ILCM is a statewide nonprofit organization providing free legal services to low-income immigrants. I am testifying today in support of House File 1163. This legislation would make driver's licenses available to all residents of Minnesota who can pass a driver's license examination regardless of immigration status. I am the daughter of Mexican immigrants who have done various jobs while living in Minnesota, such as working in the poultry farms, food factories, and meatpacking plants. Ever since I can remember, my parents have had to wake up before dawn to make it on time to work due to far distances they may have had to travel. Many who they worked alongside were and still are undocumented. I am proud of the work that my parents and my community members do. They help build and feed this state and country. Farm workers and meatpacking plant workers today are recognized as essential workers. They need driver's licenses. If we support Minnesota's economic development, especially during this pandemic, we must support the people who make our economy thrive. The people who strengthen our state are immigrants, and many of them are undocumented. Many undocumented workers have lived here for decades. Their homes and families are here. More than 30,000 US citizen children in Minnesota have undocumented parents. These parents have the same little daily errands as the rest of us, things we take for granted, like going to the grocery store, getting diapers for the baby, or picking up a sick child from school when the nurse calls. Out here in rural Minnesota, we do not have buses and trains to get to work or to the grocery store. We all need to drive. That's essential for us and for our communities. For the sake of undocumented workers, but also for the sake of all of us in rural Minnesota, I ask that you vote for House File 1163, driver's licenses for all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Duarte Alonzo, and for the work of the Immigrant Law Center over many years on this issue. Our next testifier is Josefina Flores, and I understand there's an interpreter, so we want to make sure that we hear the phrases and then a pause. Welcome to the committee, bienvenidos, and proceed with your testimony, and then also we'll have the interpreter as well.
Buenas tardes a todos. Buenas tardes, señor presidente, miembros del comité. Muchas gracias por permitirme participar y dar mi testimonio.
Good afternoon, President of this committee. Thank you, everybody, and thank you for welcoming me this afternoon to share my testimony with you.
Mi nombre es Josefina Flores. Tengo viviendo más de 20 años en Minnesota. Recientemente resido en la ciudad de Mankato. Tengo 4 hijos graduados de la preparatoria, 2 de ellos con altos honores.
My name is Josefina Flores. I've been in Minnesota for over 20 years, and lately I live in Mankato. I have 4 children, graduated already from high school, and 2 of them with honors.
Mi esposo y yo hemos luchado mucho para lograr que nuestros hijos se graduaran. Mi esposo fue deportado en junio del año pasado. El día de la graduación de mi hija, que se graduaba con honores.
My husband and I have fought really hard to support our children and see them graduated. But my husband was deported on June 2019, the same day my daughter was graduating with honors from high school.
Mi economía se ha agravado por la falta de una licencia de conducir. He tenido que rechazar los trabajos que me han ofrecido por falta de una licencia de manejo. No tenemos transporte público aquí en este lugar.
My economy has suffered from that event of my husband being deported. I don't have a driver license then. I cannot help and provide for my family. I have to turn down offers to work because I cannot drive to places. And as you know, where we are in Mankato, we don't have public transportation to be used.
Mis hijos han tenido que parar de tener una vida normal, independientemente de la pandemia. Han tenido que dejar sus estudios escolares para ponerse a trabajar.
My children, and that's independent of what is happening with the pandemic, had to interrupt the studies and start working to help our family.
Solo tenemos un solo vehículo para 3 personas que están trabajando. Yo no puedo manejar, no puedo adquirir un vehículo más, no puedo pagar una aseguranza por la falta de una licencia de manejo.
I myself, we are 3 people working in our house with only 1 car. And myself, I cannot drive, I cannot buy another car, I cannot access insurance for a car.
Esto ha causado mucha depresión, ansiedad, problemas seriamente económicos en mi familia, que día a día está tratando de salir adelante.
These circumstances have caused our family a lot of depression, anxiety, and severe problems with our economic status right now.
Si tuviera la oportunidad de tener una licencia de manejo, sería más fácil para mi vida, sería más fácil para mí poder ayudar a mis hijos, para mis hijas, que ellos puedan regresar a su escuela, a sus estudios universitarios, a los cuales ellas han soñado toda su vida y a los cuales ellas trabajaron por muchos años. Ellos se graduaron con honores. Ojalá que ustedes aprueben este bill. Muchas gracias.
If I were to have access to a driver license, my life would be so much easier. I could that way help my children, and in turn, they could return to their studies at the university, something that they cannot do right now. That was always their dream. They worked so hard to get to the university level. And I hope that you approve this bill that will help a family like mine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony, Ms. Flandes, and for the interpretation, excellent interpretation, Ms. Valdecantos. Your presence here and your story is very much appreciated, very moving and very impactful. Thank you so much. Our next speaker also will be speaking through an interpreter. And I'd like to call on Mara Lopez.
Buenas tardes, Dios les bendiga a todos. Mi nombre es Mara López, tengo viviendo 20 años en Minnesota. Recientemente vivo en la ciudad de Madelia. Tengo 3 hijas y 2 nietos, de los cuales me siento muy orgullosa porque ellos han podido culminar sus estudios en el college con honores también.
And I'm assuming that I continue to interpret, right?
Yeah, I don't know if Uriel Espinoza is on the call. My understanding was that Uriel would be interpreting, but is Uriel Espinoza on the call? If not, then if you're available, you can continue your interpretation.
Okay, sure. Let me ask Mara just one question I didn't get. Mara dijo tenía 3 hijas
y 2 nietos.
Okay. Okay, so my name is Mara Lopez. I've been 20 years in Minnesota. Recently, I live in Madelia, Minnesota, and I have 3 daughters and 2 grandkids. And they also graduated with honors.
Actualmente trabajo en casa cuidando niños. Por falta de una licencia de conducir, he tenido que crear mi propio trabajo en casa. Soy una líder voluntaria independiente muy activa aquí en mi comunidad.
Because I don't have a driver license, I had to create my own work at home, and I take care of children. I'm also a leader in my community, and always glad and always helpful to everybody that needs help in my community.
Vivo constante con miedo todos los días porque mi esposo sale a trabajar sin una licencia de conducir, ya que él es nuestro sostén. Él provee todo lo necesario para darnos una mejor calidad de vida a cada uno de sus miembros de la casa.
I always live in fear because my husband is the one that ventures out to get the things we need as a family. And every day I live with this fear that he may not be able to come back.
Como dije antes, soy una líder comunitaria. Yo me arriesgo en altas temperaturas en muchas ocasiones para ayudar a mi comunidad llevando comida, llevando ropa, lo que necesitan de ayuda. En la pandemia, por ejemplo, tuve muchas llamadas en las cuales me llamaban para que yo pudiese llevar a la gente a los hospitales, pero lamentablemente no me atrevía porque no tengo una licencia de conducir. Tenía que buscar otras personas para depender de ellos.
As a community leader in my city, I'm always working to help my community. I provide food for people that may need food or clothing. During this pandemic, I've received a lot of calls from people asking me to help them get to the hospital, but I couldn't do that. I would have to rely on other people that have driver license to do this work of helping.
Hay muchos momentos que me siento impotente por la falta de tener esa licencia. Otra cosa fuera si yo pudiese contar con esa licencia de conducir para ayudar más a la comunidad y a las personas necesitadas, sobre todo a los ancianos.
I feel powerless not having a driver license. If I could have it, I could help even more people in my community, and especially the elderly that live by themselves and cannot find other helpers.
Si ustedes escucharan estas historias que son verídicas y que son reales, sería bien beneficioso para cada uno de nosotros que ustedes nos permitieran tener esa licencia de conducir. Y yo les pido que voten a favor de esa propuesta. Licencia para todos. Muchas gracias por escuchar mi testimonio.
It is my hope that you listen and take into account all these stories, that they're all true. It comes from all of us. And I really, truly ask you that you vote in favor of this driver licenses for all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lopez, for, again, your very, very important testimony. And your stories are very impactful and meaningful to us. Thank you. Our next, and again, thank you so much, Ms. Valdecantos, for translating for both of the important testimony that we heard. Our next testifier is Jovita Francisco from the Minnesota Immigrant Movement. Welcome to the committee, Ms. Francisco. Nice to see you again, and please state your name for the record.
Hola, buenas tardes. Good afternoon. My name is Jovita. I live in Minnesota for more than 25 years. I have 2 citizen children. I grew up in indigenous town in Mexico with my parents, a grandmother, and a great grandmother. Our native language is Masawa. I, along with my sister, niece, and aunt, crossed the border in the United States when I was 14 years old. I didn't know that I was coming in here in the United States. As soon as I arrived, I started hearing derogatory terms, people calling me illegal, job stealer, and many other harmful terms. Unfortunately, I still deal with that today. And those are people who don't know me or all the work I've been done Minnesota for Minnesota. If they did, they would know that I'm a good person. They will know that I'm a good community leader. They will know that I'm essential as a frontline workers at the food shelf, and that I'm a mother of 2 amazing children, one of which puts her life in the line every day for all of you. In 2007, my children were 9 and 11 years old and were in the school bus when the 35W bridge collapsed. I felt the tragedy with the rest of Minnesota as a result of that. My children were injured and hurt from that trauma. My children need rides to clinic appointments and therapy appointments, to school or English class, as I was learning in that time too. And I made sure they also volunteer in the community. I made difficult choices to drive them. The choice was difficult as I did not have a driver license. I thank God every day that I came home every night safely and do not regret doing what a mother should do for their children in the time in need. My only regret is that there wasn't something in place to make my job as a mother easier. This story is similar to the other 100 Minnesotans directly impacted who are not here today because of the fears put on them. I overcame that fear, and I'm here today to represent them, and I hope you are not afraid to represent them as well. all we ask is that we are allowed to take the test and prove what we know, how to drive safely in the street. Dear Republican legislators, knowing that support driver license for all helps all Minnesotans to be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Francisco, for your testimony and sharing your story. Our next testifier is Brad Lato, the AFL-CIO Secretary Treasurer. Mr. Lato, welcome to the committee, and please state your name for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members. Good afternoon. My name is Brad Leto, and I am Secretary Treasurer of the Minnesota AFL-CIO, a federation of more than 1,000 local unions representing more than 300,000 working Minnesotans. The Minnesota AFL-CIO supports 1163. House File 1163 will strengthen public safety, improve accessibility, and expand people's freedom to provide for their families. While immigration might be a federal issue, it impacts people in Minnesota, people and communities across Minnesota, as you've heard, and those that you've just heard from and may hear more are much more eloquent than I. But House File 1163 is primarily a public safety measure, and as you've heard, and Minnesota's roads are safer with all this, but more so, people, as you've heard, always want to make a better life for themselves and their families. Access to driver's license helps build strong, inclusive, economically vibrant communities. Expanding the freedom to drive to immigrants encourages community involvement and creates a sense of belonging. Driving is a necessity, though, not a choice for the vast majority of Minnesotans' families. Having a driver's license allows a family the freedom to attend parent-teacher conferences, church, commute to work, and as you've just heard, go to the doctor with their kids. Immigrants are part of Minnesota's community's economy. Access to driver's license not only helps undocumented workers, but it helps the communities in which they already live and work, as you've heard. And I just want to say that, it's not often that the Minnesota AFL-CIO agrees with the Chamber of Commerce and the Agricultural Council and everybody else. And we do, and in fact, I have spoken, this has been around for a while, and I've spoken at colleges, to classes, high schools, communities, along with chamber representatives on this issue. And so I ask members to please, respectfully ask members to please pass House File 1163. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lato. Our next testifier is Leanne Niemann, a teacher from Worthington. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me here and permitting me to testify. My name is Leanne Zins Enengay, and I'm here to testify. It's okay, nobody gets it. I am here to speak in favor of House File 1163. I will probably not be the most important words that are spoken this afternoon, but I wanted to speak from my perspective. What came to my mind first when we were talking about this was, what is the purpose of a driver's license? And that was my first question to myself. Are driver's licenses issued purely for an identification document, or are they really a license to drive? Something that indicates that the holder has learned the laws of the road and knows how to operate a vehicle. The latter purpose seems to make more sense to me from my perspective as an interpreter, a teacher, a citizen, and a farmer. However, we have given these driver's licenses the purpose of identification, and that seems to be the sticking point. Could we look at this a little bit more objectively? What happens when someone is denied a license because they do not have all the rights of a citizen? As a court interpreter for many years, this was an issue that came to court more often than I could count. Why did they drive without a license? They most often did it for survival. Do you see lots of public transportation, particularly in small and rural communities? No. There's seldom any means of public transportation here. How does one get to a job, particularly one that has long and untraditional hours? Walk? We don't need to have been in Minnesota for very long to know how few days of the year it is reasonable to walk to most destinations. What happens when a child gets sick at school? The school immediately tries to contact the parent to have them pick up the student. What if no one in the household has a license? A child has parent-teacher conferences. We expect the parent to attend, though that has been modified during the pandemic. How do they get there? The child has a program at school that parents are invited to attend. How will they participate in that program? Are these things only for those who are privileged to have a license? How do we expect any family to do the everyday things that we take so much for granted and better than life when we throw obstacle after obstacle in front of them? Make no mistake, the individual action of granting driver's licenses to those who pass the test will not immediately change everything in their lives. That's pie in the sky thinking. What we are asking for is to take just one of the obstacles away that we have thrown in front of people who are attempting to make a better life for themselves and their children. Why waste court time making criminals out of people simply trying to survive? How is this going to hurt us? Let's make the driver's license do what it was supposed to do. Identify that the person has passed the test and knows how to drive. The next thing is to figure out how we might identify people in another way. Thank you very much for allowing me to testify, and I ask for your support for House File 1163. It is important.
Thank you very much for your testimony and your perspective from Worthington. Our next testifier is Victor Torres, and he will also be speaking through an interpreter. Welcome to the committee. Is Uriel Perez Espinoza available on the call to translate?
Mr. Chair, I'm here, but Victor's son is going to testify or read the dad's statement.
Okay. Is Victor or his son available? We may come back to Victor if there's some connectivity problems, if that's okay. Mr. Perez Espinoza?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay, and I think you're also going to be translating for our next speaker. Is Shani Lisseth De Leon Cal available?
Mr. Chair, Shani is in Worthington, and she is going to read her statement, and she provided me her testimony, and I have it here. So we will read it. I'll read it at the end.
Oh, okay. That's very good. Welcome to the committee, and then we can also have Mr. Perez Espinoza state the name for the record as well. But please proceed with testimony. Welcome. Bienvenidos.
Lizeth, puedes empezar a hablar.
Ok. Sí, hola, muy buenas tardes, presidente y miembros del comité. Gracias por dejarme hablar. Mi nombre es Shani Lisseth de Leon Caal. Soy originaria de Guatemala y vivo en Worthington. Mi esposo y yo fuimos oficiales de policía en mi país. Desgraciadamente, mi esposo fue asesinado. Me intentaron matar, asesinarme 3 veces y tengo una amenaza de muerte. Por estas razones tengo una petición de asilo político desde marzo del 2019. El día 22 de octubre del 2020 manejaba rumbo a mi trabajo con otras 3 personas en la autopista 90. De repente un carro me pegó al rebasarme, perdí el control, me pegué en el cemento del puente y quedé inconsciente. Tuve lesiones muy graves, estuve en coma 4 días, 20 días en el hospital y 3 meses en silla de ruedas. Aún sigo en recuperación. La policía nunca me contactó para tomar mi declaración. Tuve que pagar una multa de $200 por no licencia de conducir. Actualmente me quieren culpar por un accidente en el cual yo no tuve la culpa. Mi vida se ha vuelto más difícil de lo que era antes por la falta de una licencia de conducir. Tengo un hijo pequeño de 8 años conmigo y una hija en Guatemala que necesitan mi ayuda económicamente. Tengo prohibido manejar por no tener una licencia de manejo. Tengo deudas en el hospital. Sufro de trauma psicológico a causa del accidente y de la amenaza de muerte. Sin embargo, estoy luchando para salir adelante, para tener una licencia de conducir. Es más que una identificación, es la oportunidad de salir a trabajar y darles comida, ropa, estudio a mis hijos y la oportunidad de salir adelante. Gracias.
So I'm going to read her statement. My name is Uriel Espinosa, URIEL-ESPINOZA. Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. Thanks for letting me speak today. My name is Shani Lisette de Leon Caal. I'm originally from Guatemala and I live in Worthington. My husband and I were police officers in my country. Unfortunately, my husband was assassinated. I was tried to be murdered 3 times and I have a death threat. For these reasons, I have applied for political asylum in March of 2019. On October 22, 2020, I was driving on Highway 90th on my way to work with 3 other people when a car passed by me and suddenly hit me. I lost control and crashed on the bridge, and I was knocked unconscious. I had very serious injuries. I was in coma for 4 days, 20 in the hospital, and 3 months in a wheelchair. I'm still recovering. The police never contacted me to take my statement. I had to pay $200 fine for no driver license. Currently, they're charging me for an accident that I did not commit. My life has become harder than it was before for the lack of a driver license. I have an 8-year-old son who lives with me, and my daughter is in Guatemala, who need my financial help. I'm forbidden to drive because I do not have a driver license. I have debts in the hospital. I suffer from psychological trauma from the accident and the death threat. However, I'm struggling to get ahead. To me, having a driver license is more than an ID. It's the opportunity to go out to work, to provide food to my children, clothing, school, and to give my children an opportunity to succeed in life. Mr. Chair and committee members, I ask you to vote in favor of HF File 1163, Driver Answers for All. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Thank you for the translation and the very moving story that you shared with us, Ms. Lisette. Our next testifier is Pam Paragon from the City of St. Paul Police Department. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. My name is Pamela Paragon, Barragan. I am a St. Paul Police Commander for the Community Partnerships Unit. I work in law enforcement for 25 years, and I have been in this country for 30 years. My unit's mission is to intentionally be the bridge between our racially and ethnically diverse communities and the police department. We need to be in partnership with our residents to ensure everyone is safe. Therefore, on behalf of the St. Paul Police Department, I'm here to testify in support of the bill. Granting driver's license to immigrants could improve road safety and accountability. Individuals are typically required to complete a driver's education class, pass a driving exam, and take a behind-the-wheel driving test before obtaining a driver's license. During this time, the person learns to properly operate the vehicle, to interpret various traffic signs, and the rules of the road that make driving a safe activity. Knowing of driving laws and practicing can contribute to highway safety. Allowing all residents to obtain a license or state ID would promote public safety. Law enforcement officers may use driver's license or state IDs to identify the individuals they encounter. This can be eliminated. This can limit the need of officers to handle other identification documents. Law enforcement officers have the critical task of investigating crimes, responding to emergencies, and keeping the community safe. A state-issued identification document will help officers to be more efficient. In addition, these cards can be helpful for first responders in identifying people needing emergency medical assistance. These are real reasons that impact many lives. We as a collective have a responsibility to ensure public safety and financial responsibility by licensing and insuring as many drivers as possible. I urge you to pass House File 1163. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Paragon, and thank you for your service. Our next testifier is Terry Tao from St. Paul.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for giving me the time to testify today. My name is Terry Tao. I'm a mother, sister, partner, community leader, and small business owner. I'm also really active in the nonprofit community and also in the community economic development field, and live on the east side of St. Paul. I'm here to speak on behalf of many Asian American and Pacific Islander community members, many of whom are afraid of being publicly identified as undocumented. It's estimated that about 1.7 million undocumented immigrants in the United States are Asian or Pacific Islander, which is 1 out of every 6 undocumented immigrants. It also means 1 out of every 7 Asian immigrants and refugees overall is undocumented. So this issue of having a driver's license is really important, and we stand in solidarity with a lot of the communities that are here today also requesting the passage of this bill. When my family came to the United States, even though they resettled in 1976 in Chicago as Hmong refugees, they were not comfortable taking the system, and they had rather large families. So that meant they had to drive. And then when they moved to Minnesota, many of the jobs that were available to them were in manufacturing, were in the suburbs. So again, without cars, they couldn't drive and drive to their workplaces and access in order to support for their families. And so, and in a lot of ways too, driving also gave particularly a lot of women in our community freedom and independence that they often didn't have in their home countries. So not only does it mean about participating in our economy, it also means we need to do things that other testifiers have mentioned. Pick up kids from school, take people to doctor's visits. What I also wanted to state that I don't think any other testifiers mentioned is that the lack of affordable housing is pushing families to live further out. So that makes driving a necessity in order to travel to get to anywhere. By not allowing undocumented folks to get a driver's license, it continues to keep them invisible, and as many folks have said, has public safety implications. I'm here in support of House File 1163 because I believe all Minnesotans should be free to drive safely and without fear. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Tao. Our next testifier is Imam Walid Shadi from Blaine and also affiliated with the Isaiah organization.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for having me today. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Imam Walid Shadi. I am a core leader in the Muslim Coalition of Isaiah. So in Minnesota, we care for our families and for one another, regardless of where you come from or what you look like. In 2003, the politicians took away the immigrant access to driver's licenses to divide and distract us. Minnesotans have rejected the politics of fear and scapegoating immigrants. I urge you to approve the driver's license for all bill. To me, the core issue is about the basic human dignity of all people. Refusing to issue a state driver's license for some people drives them to the ability to work or even move, and places them to a constant risk of arrest. In short, it deprives the people of a basic dignity. In the Muslim community, we have seen many people that are undocumented, who are very fearful to even drive and seek opportunities like all Minnesotans. This bill is a common sense. We need everyone to have a driver license so we can ensure safety within our roads. We know that immigrants in our Minnesota are our fellow workers and neighbors who deserve dignity and just treatment. These are our sisters and brothers who contribute to the well-being of our communities. Again, this policy is a common sense policy that makes everyone safer and is part of us living into our faith and having a good community. Remember, to obtain a license, drivers must have passing the test, the knowledge test and the road test, ensuring that they know all the rules of the road. Licensed drivers are less likely to be involved in a fatal accident or leave the scene of accidents, hit and run. They are more likely to have insurance that benefits every one of us. It is time to restore access to driver licenses for immigrants. We expect our elected leaders to stand up for the rights of all immigrants. And that is a part of us being a person of faith in Minnesota. And thanks a lot again for having me today to testify. Thank you. I'm supporting this bill, and please, I urge everyone to support it too. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Our next testifier is Imam Ahmed Shaban from South Metro Islamic Center in Rosemont, also affiliated with the Isaiah organization. Welcome to the committee.
Thank you so much for having me. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Imam Ahmed Shaban, and I work as the Imam of the Islamic Cultural Community Center in Eden Prairie. I am also a clergy leader with the Muslim Coalition of Isaiah, and today I'm testifying in support of House File 63. As Minnesotans, we pride ourselves on our long history of caring for our families, caring for one another, regardless of our looks, our gender, or where we come from. Back in 2003, some politicians saw it fit to remove immigrant access to driver licenses as a way to divide and distract us. However, Minnesotans have spoken, and their words are to reject hate, fear, and division. And so today, we would like to support that. Many members of our community are negatively impacted by not having driver licenses. Those are parents who have to drive their children to work, to school, or people who work who need to who need to go to work. And this law unfortunately forces them to do that without having driver licenses. This law also engenders feelings of distrust and fear of law enforcement within our communities. Members of our communities are less likely to come forward if they have evidence or if they're able to assist law enforcement for fear of repercussions. Allowing all immigrants to obtain driver licenses is a logical and sensible step towards making all Minnesotans safer. And it is part of living our faith and having a good community in Minnesota. To obtain a license, all drivers have to pass a test, a knowledge test and a road test. And this ensures that they know the rules of the road and they're able to drive safely and effectively in Minnesota. And this is that does not make much of a difference if this was a legal immigrant or an illegal immigrant. And licensed drivers are proven to be less likely to be involved in fatal accidents, or to be, and they're more safe on the road. They're also more likely to have insurance. They're more likely to come forward if they have evidence that can assist law enforcement. This benefits everybody. Respected members of the committee, it is time to restore access to driver licenses for immigrants. We expect our elected leaders to stand up for the rights of all immigrants and of all Minnesotans. And that's part of being a person of faith in Minnesota. Thank you again for having me today.
Thank you, Imam Shaban, for your testimony. Our next testifier is Pastor James Erlinson from the Lutheran Church of the Redeemer in St. Paul, also affiliated with Isaiah. Welcome to the committee, Pastor Erlinson.
Thank you. My name is James Erlinson, pastor of Lutheran Church of the Redeemer in St. Paul and a leader in Isaiah, a statewide interfaith organization in Minnesota. As a grandson of immigrants whose spouse was welcomed as a refugee from Cambodia in 1980, I have come to testify in support of HF 1163, which would allow undocumented immigrants who live and work in Minnesota to obtain driver's licenses. Many of these immigrants, as we have heard, are essential workers in healthcare, childcare, food service, and agriculture, providing critical services during the COVID-19 pandemic. They are our neighbors who, like us, need to drive their children to school, go to work, the grocery store, or the doctor. Much of our work in the faith community includes bringing people together to make our communities safer and make immigrants and new residents welcome. We are guided by the teachings of scriptures such as these. When an alien, a foreigner, or immigrant resides with you in your land, you shall not oppress the immigrant. The immigrant who resides with you shall be to you as the citizen among you. You shall love the immigrant as yourself, for you were immigrants in the land of Egypt. So we aspire also to be good neighbors in Minnesota. Also, as Jesus said, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and your neighbor as ourselves. The bill proposed in HF 1163 would make it possible for thousands of Minnesota residents to drive legally and safely without fear of arrest for driving without a license. This bill would also make us all safer on our roads and highways because of the training and tests required in order to obtain a license. The data protections offered in this bill would also give undocumented immigrants the confidence they need to apply for driver's licenses and remove the fear that keeps many in the shadows. For these and many other reasons, I urge this committee of the House to pass this bill to make our immigrant neighbors welcome and to make every Minnesotan safer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pastor Erlinson. Our next testifier is Father Dale Karogi from the Church of the Ascension in Minneapolis, also with Isaiah. Father Karogi.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Representative Winkler, and committee members. I'm Dale Karogi, the pastor of Ascension Catholic Church in North Minneapolis, a priest of the Archdiocese of St. Paul in Minneapolis, and a clergy partner with Isaiah. As the pastor of a tight-knit Latino immigrant community, I know how important it is for members from around the Twin Cities to gather regularly at our church, simply to see one another, catch up with one another, and have a meal, to speak a common language and share common interests and concerns. They're often relatives and dearest friends, having moved here from the same states and villages in their native Mexico, Ecuador, Guatemala. Participation in the life and sacraments of the church is the heartbeat of their week. It looks a lot like my Minneapolis childhood in a Polish-American immigrant parish. When any member is missing, we miss them, and they miss us. We understand that driving is a privilege, not a right, but there are some basic human rights that become complicated and compromised when one is not permitted to drive. Access to work and to food, to education and healthcare, having the means to make a livelihood and provide for one's family, to practice one's religion, and to be with family and friends. The daily rounds that most of us take for granted can be for them fraught with enormous stress, if not altogether impossible. Our society routinely grants the privilege to drive to teenagers, a coming of age. But we in Minnesota withhold it from responsible mothers and fathers in the immigrant community. While more comprehensive immigration reform may be out of reach at the moment, let's at least take this step in our state to recognize and respect the inherent human dignity of immigrant Minnesotans, our good friends and neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Father Karogi. Perla Ramos is next. Is Ms. Ramos available? I did see her earlier. Perla Ramos. Fe y Justicia.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, you're on.
Yes,
welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record.
Thank you for having me. My name is Perla Ramos, and I urge you guys to please all do something to help this bill to pass. My actual family passed for a situation where my family was divided. My husband was coming back from work, and for not having a driver license, he was put into jail. And that was a more difficult day of my life because there was no reason for him to be arrested. He was just on the side of the road fixing a flat tire that he had after a long week of work. And then a state patrol came to him and then asked for documents. He didn't have any documents at the time, so he was immediately arrested. The report on the police report, it says that he was arrested for appearing to be illegal. So by not having a driver license, it put us in a position where we can be detained and deported as soon as, like, in no matter of time. So I really urge to have our driver license back so we can have better community effort to, we just want to be good. We want to do the best. We want to be better. We want the best for our families. And by taking away that license, it pushes back. And then we live in fear. A lot of us have to work and we don't know if we're coming back because of our appearance of color or because how we look. And then we went through that situation, and it's just what thousands of people have to deal with every day, not just with the fear of immigration, but with the fear of being pulled over or stopped at minor situations yeah. And then we get pulled over. They ask for documents. We don't have them because whatever reason, and then we get put into ICE. And that's where our separation of families come as well. After 5 years of fighting for justice for my husband, I was able to get him a work authorization number. He was able to work and he got a driver license. Otherwise, he wouldn't been able to do it. It's just something that we need every day. It's just something that we all need to survive. And then let's vote for the bill. I had to pay a lot of money for him to be released, drive more than 5 hours to get him out of the jail. And it's just not fair. And he was not even doing anything. He was just waiting for his boss to help him with a flat tire. And then immediately he was put into jail and then be on hold for ICE. I was lucky that I was able to prove that he was a good guy, that he had a good character, moral character. He never had any issue with crimes or anything. He had a really good record. But yeah, it was devastating for our family. If he almost got deported. If I didn't move quick or got all the papers or lawyers and things together about a bunch of money, we would have been separated, divided from our family. I have lived with my family for more than 20 years in St. Cloud. I feel that this is my home, and I want to have the privilege of having a driver's license and don't have to worry about being pulled over and not having a driver's license. I want to do the best for my family, and we all want to be the best and the better. And please support the bill.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Ramos, for your testimony. Members, this brings us to the end, however, of our public testimony. However, I do want to circle back and see if Mr. Victor Torres has been able to join us. And I know that we had some issues perhaps with connectivity earlier. Is Mr. Torres or his son available?
They lost communication, but he sent me an email with his testimony. I don't know. This is Uriel, so I don't know. You read it?
If it's very brief, we can. Otherwise, we can enter it into the record because we have a few questions and other items we have to take care of for the bill right now. But if it's very brief, we can take it. I already see 2 questions from committee members.
Mr. Chair, be happy to send it.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Espinoza. And I'm sorry we had some connectivity problems. Members, what we're going to do now is take questions of committee members, and you can direct those either to the author or any of the testifiers. I saw Representative Torkelson's hand go up first. Representative Torkelson.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a question for the author. Representative Winkler, we normally don't really pay too much attention to what's happening across the street in the other body, but you did bring up in your opening remarks that you felt that this was not being brought forward merely to make a political point, but because you thought it had a very good chance of actually becoming law. Yet, when I consulted the website, this bill has no companion in the Senate. Can you explain to me what's going on?
Majority Leader Winkler.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Torkelson, I don't expect this bill, if we can move it through the Senate, to go through the regular committee process over there. I think there are too many barriers to doing that successfully. We will introduce the bill. It will still fall on the House, I think, though, to try to put together a bipartisan bill and demonstrate to the Senate that this is something that they should be willing to take up. I expect, and frankly, this is as good an opportunity to talk about this as any. What I want to do with this bill is the motion is to send it to Ways and Means. I understand that Representative Koznick has an A1 amendment related to markings on the front of the driver's license. I'm inclined to accept the Koznick amendment for the sake of continuing this discussion. I've heard in the last committee that there could be some bipartisan support if we add that language, and I'd like to try to do that. In addition, I'm going to make a request down the road that Chair Hornstein include a version of this in the transportation budget bill. And the goal is to get it to the point where at the end of session, this bill is alive for negotiations and to try to get it done. I think that's the pathway, and being very transparent about it, I think that's how it will work. And I don't know that this is a bill that we can pass through the Senate this year. I'm just saying that is the goal. The goal is not to make a point. The goal is to get it done.
Representative Torkelson.
Well, thank you, Representative Winkler, for that answer. Having a bill introduced to the Senate might lend it more credence. Mr. Chair, I have other questions, but we've already used much of our time today. My other questions really are regarding current practices with employees, and I'm not sure who can answer my question, but my question relates to how we handle those the documentation of workers that are currently employed in the state of Minnesota that are unable to get a driver's license, and what impact this legislation might have on those transactions or issues of documentation. I'm not sure who to ask. Perhaps the author again might have thought about this question.
Representative Winkler.
Mr. Chair, Representative Torkelson, I guess a little bit more specificity would help me try to answer your question, and then if necessary, we can go to House Research for backup.
Representative Torkelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, certainly we know that there are workers, we've heard it many times today, that are working currently. Apparently they have presented some kind of documentation to their employer in order to secure employment, yet are unable to secure a driver's license. At the point at which if this would pass, if they could secure a driver's license, what will employers do? What will they be required to do? How does there seems to be a conundrum here?
Representative Winkler.
Representative Torkelson, this should not affect employers. The documentation, the primary and secondary documents required to get a driver's license, essentially we are taking out immigration status type documents as a requirement. That doesn't affect what employers are supposed to do or not do, or how this undocumented employer-employee relationship works in practice in Minnesota. I don't know it. I don't have firsthand knowledge of it. I just know that it exists and it happens. But having a driver's license with these documents that we are permitting to be used will not then create a form of ID that would satisfy federal tax purposes.
Well, Mr. Chair.
Representative Torkelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, I'm concerned about the status not only of the drivers, but of the employers. And the insurance enters into this, the employer's insurance. It seems to me there are some unanswered questions here that do need to be answered. And then one final question, if I might, Mr. Chair. We already have a backup in driver's testing and getting people licenses in a timely fashion. If this would pass into law and there'd be a flood of new applicants, do we know if DVS is prepared to handle this? They can't seem to handle what we have, the demand that we currently have in place.
Representative Winkler, I don't know if you would like to have Ms. Fassbender from DVS answer that question.
Mr. Chair, I think that would be the most useful.
Okay. Ms. Fassbender, welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record.
Good afternoon, Chair Hornstein. This is actually...
Oh, Ms. Corey is with us. Okay, Ms. Corey, welcome to the committee.
Absolutely. Representative Hornstein, Representative Winkler, and members of the committee. Certainly, I can respond to that. We have worked very hard this past year in the middle of COVID to meet the demands of Minnesotans, and actually with the consolidated exam station model, we were able to do more Class D road tests this past year than we did the year before, this past summer in the heart of COVID. So again, we continue to work hard towards meeting the needs of Minnesotans.
Any follow-up, Representative Torkelson, for Ms. Corey?
Mr. Chair, I know there are others that have questions this afternoon. That was not much of an answer as to how she might accommodate increased demand. We know that current demand is being accommodated by having testing stations spread out in distances that are really unreasonable, but I don't want to go on with that. I'm finished, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I believe that we have one more member question from Representative Mason.
Thank you,
briefly, if we can.
I don't know. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do want to thank all the testifiers. I have been through hearings on this legislation before, and it's not only very emotional for the testifiers, but for the audience as well. And the current situation we know is intolerable, not to mention unsafe. And if the stories alone aren't enough to move people to vote yes for this bill, then ensuring public safety certainly should be. I do want to thank Representative Winkler for carrying this legislation. It is so important. And if I have a question, how long before we get the job done?
I think that's a rhetorical question, and I appreciate that. Members, you know, we have 5 minutes. We have 5 amendments plus an author's amendment. I don't see a path to getting done at 2:30. We have a hard stop. I don't think there's any flexibility. We did anticipate this potentially happening, so we will reconvene at 5. And I wanted to make sure that everyone testified. Everyone who signed up to testify could testify. But we'll proceed. Representative Torres, is your hand up from previously, or is this a new question or point you wanted to make? Okay, maybe it is from the before. Representative Cagle.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. I just wanted to share a story of a woman I met recently virtually that lives down in southern Minnesota, and she's pregnant right now, and her driveway is a mile long, and her husband can't get a driver's license. He had come with a finance visa, expired 90 days, and because of COVID and the Social Security office paperwork, his documents expired, and so now he has to wait another 8 months to get the proper driver's license documents that he needs. And she is expecting a baby, and so she's worried about if she's going to have to drive herself to the hospital while she's in labor. Luckily, well, I don't know. I had a C-section, and you're not allowed to drive at least 2 weeks after a C-section. And so she's scared for her family, her new baby. And so I just wanted to raise up, these are real situations for people that they're dealing with, and I hope we can get this done. So thank you.
Thank you, Representative Cagle. Well, are there any other questions of the committee to the author or to any of the testifiers? If not, let's at least get the author's amendment in. No, you want to put that off, Representative Winkler?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, thank you. I don't intend to offer the author's amendment today. That's a financial issue that I don't think we'll end up having to address. And if we do, we can deal with it in Ways and Means.
Okay, thank you, Representative Winkler. We have a couple minutes. Representative Koznick, do you want to
Mr. Chair?
At least explain? Representative Petersburg.
Mr. Chair, yeah, I think so. Let's deal with those amendments tonight when we have the full time to do with it. But I did want to just bring up, something you and I just chatted briefly about, and that's whether or not public safety needs to do that. So maybe in the meantime, you can check with Chair Mariani to see. After all, this is going to impact the driver's license system, which is handled by DPS, as well as talking about the general fact of the financial or fiscal note indicating that it's going to be an issue. And because of how it impacts with interactions with law enforcement, et cetera, it makes some sense to go there. But obviously, being that you guys are in charge and chairs have that overall decision, maybe you could take time and ask him whether or not he wants to see this bill. It does seem to make sense to me that it might go to public safety before Ways and Means, but again, it's your call. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Petersburg, and thank you for sharing that perspective. And we'll certainly consult with everyone who needs to be consulted with on that question. Representative Winkler, I very much appreciate your efforts here and all of the testifiers. We will continue this hearing at 5 p.m. Mr. Howe, can you just confirm that the access information for Zoom will be the same as it was at 1 o'clock?
Yes, it will, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Members, we will go through several amendments. We will debate those amendments. We'll have a final debate on the bill at 5 o'clock today. And until then, this hearing is continued.